Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got a review for you of this little guy right here. This is the TuyaKnives Envy number 2. That's right, it's Tuya 2. First off, though, in the name of full disclosure, this guy was actually sent to me by TuyaKnives directly. I reached out to him, I said, hey, I'm kind of interested in that guy. They said, hey, yeah, absolutely. I sent him my full disclosure, full disclaimer. Go ahead and check it out on my website. But basically, I told them I'm going to talk about the good, the great, the bad, the ugly. It might be a gem, might be junk. They still sent it along, but we have to assume this is the very best quality controlled one of these guys ever. And I'm doing my best not to let that fact affect the nature of my review. So there you go. Next thing, let's do a size comparison real quick. This guy is an absolutely reasonably sized knife. Here we have it against Spyderco Delica here. Here it is against the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. So we can see here that in terms of effective blade length, we are right in PM2 vicinity here. Then here it is against the Ontario Rat number 2. And so, yeah, there you go. That's your size comparison overall. Next thing, this is the second version of the TuyaKnives Envy. The first one actually had a weird fuller going on in the blade. This exchanges the fuller for a compound grindy looking thing, which is, frankly, a little bit more attractive. And then finally, what's a TuyaKnife? TuyaKnife is a relatively new Chinese maker on the scene. It's got, actually, their U.S. representative is really hustling hard, and I mean that in a very good way. But it's a relatively new company coming out of China, but they're doing pretty impressive work. So, anyways, let's go on ahead and jump into the good, the great, the bad, the ugly of this very interesting knife right here. So on the good side, to start with, this guy has a very nice clip. It is a relatively, well, it's a milled clip, but it matches the rest of the knife very, very well. It's well done ergonomically with a little bit of flair at the top there to help the ergos. It is quite good in the pocket, and it allows relatively little stick uppitude with relatively deep carry. It's a nice little clip, and couple that with a very nice lanyard hole, and I don't say that lightly, by the way. Generally speaking, lanyard holes are freaking ugly, but I think this one is actually pretty well done because it supports the hand well, and there are no sharp edges, etc. It's quite well done in that way. Speaking of the no sharp edges, except for this one, which is supposed to be, ergonomically, this knife is really good because it's got this thumb ramp up at the top here. This just really fits in my hand exceptionally well. I can grip this as hard as I want. I get absolutely no hot spotting on this guy, and you can even choke up a little bit, although you're right on the edge with this part of the blade right here. You can even choke up a little bit if you'd like, but ergonomically speaking, this is good to freaking go. Next thing, this has great machining on it. If we take a look at this guy a little bit closer, what we can see here is they have done a lot of little milling in here. They have done a lot of work to make this guy pretty exceptionally good looking. And note, by the way, that the rest of the titanium is contoured as well. It's not the case that this is flat. It's the case that this is all contoured. It's just here it's been cross-hatched. And then, again, on the same side here, that's a really nice thing. And they've even made some effort, it looks like, to try and make the clip and the line. It's just good. It's really, really well done. And fit and finish-wise, it's pretty damn excellent. I'm a fan of that guy. And honestly, there are a lot of good details on here, too. You've got this streaking kind of thing going on all around it here. You've got really nice chamfers on all your surfaces. You've got little bits of rounding here and there. You've got the contouring overall on this. You've got all the nice and good details like a lock bar insert with an over-travel stop, which is nice. You have very good access to the lock bar, which is a detail, but it's one that's often overlooked. You have a lot of internal milling here to make this guy a little lighter than it already is. They really went for it. You can tell that they went all out, and they said, we want to make this the very best knife that you can, and indeed, they made a really good knife as a result. Next thing, the blade on this guy is great. It is an M390 blade, as you can see right here. An M390, when done well, is one of the very best steels out there. It has a very, very nice, thin, hollowish grind. I think that is a full-on hollow grind right here, and so it is very thin at the edge, although it does have this compound here, making it a little bit thicker down at the tip here, which some would argue is a good thing, especially if you're doing a lot of stabbing cuts or something. I don't know why, but have fun. And so that's good. And then it just has a very nice blade shape with some flat, some belly, and a nice tip on there. It's a great freaking blade. It works really well. Then finally, on the good side is the price. It's $229. And for contoured titanium with this much machine time, a beautiful hollow ground M390 blade, you know what? That feels like value. I'm perfectly okay with $230 for this. Yeah, that'll do. 100% that'll do. And so to me, at least, that's what's good here is it's got a very nice price, a great blade, great details, great machining, awesome ergos, a good lanyard hole, and a very nice clip. On the great side, though, to me, the action is just good. It's a really awesome action here. As you hear in here, absolutely no wrist. Fires reliably 100% of the time. Strong detent, very strong detent. And then on the close, once you get it up on there, It's a really nice close. It's super smooth. This knife is good. Just the action on it is spectacular. This is a really awesome action. And again, for 225 bucks, it's good. It is really good. So the action on this guy is 100% great, and coupled with all the other, I could have put the machining into the grade here, but the action is just really, really nice, and so to me at least, that's what's great. On the bad side, one little detail, this could use a detent ball ramp. That would be a nice thing, or at least if there is, I don't think there is one at all. But it would be nice to have a little bit more detent ball ramp. Or at the very least make it a little stronger if there is one. Now I'm getting all second-guessy, but nevertheless, there's something to keep in mind there. Next thing, this guy does have a relatively prominent pocket beckoning flipper tab there. Not the end of the world, but it's definitely something to keep in mind, and it's definitely something that this guy will be pecking on whatever's in your pocket all damn day. The bigger issue with the flipper tab, though, for me, is that if you've got a flat surface, and by the way, I'll measure the blade real quick, coming in at like 3.25 inches here. But if you have a flat surface that you're cutting up against, and you put this guy down, the only part of the blade that's really going to be able to touch is that very front part, because this flipper tab is going to be up against the surface and keeping most of the blade. And so if you're cutting something that's sort of free, so to speak, that's fine. But if you're trying to cut down on a surface, the amount of flipper tab that we have here actually does cause problems. So that's a beautiful thing. I'm sorry, that's not a beautiful thing. Then finally, on the bad side, the finger choil on this guy, or the sharpening choil, is a little bit small. If it's a finger choil, it's just barely enough for my finger, and it's a little creepy. But if it's a sharpening choil, it's a little small too. It could use to go just a little bit further out, because you can see you've got a little bit of a smile, a little bit of a curve up there. That's definitely so I'd like to see this expanded, just maybe 2 or 3 millimeters more out this way, would make it not only a better finger choil, but a better sharpening choil as well. And so, to me at least, those are my 4 issues, is that I'd like to see the finger choil made a little bit bigger. I'd like to see the flipper tab maybe reduced a little bit, which would let it get a little closer to whatever you're cutting. And then finally, it is pocket pecking a little bit. I said that already, and they could use a little bit of a detent ramp. But look, that's it. On the ugly front, there's nothing ugly here, so final conclusions. Look, this knife is really, really freaking good. I mean, at some level, this is really, really good. I mean, it's got good carryability, great ergos, great machining and details, a great blade, competitive price, awesome action. I can complain about the flipper tab, I can complain about the finger choil, but that's about really it. Everything else is just good. This is just good. It's really freaking good. And honestly, this is the kind of thing I want to see out of a brand new Chinese micro brand sort of thing. This is the kind of thing I want to see. It's a unique design. I can't think of anything else this looks like. I can think of, like, oh, well, I guess the handle shape kind of, but it's nothing bad particularly. But it's also machined super well and at a price point that's super competitive. That's reminding me like, I don't know much about this brand, but you know what? At that price, I'll take a risk. This is the kind of thing I want to see. This is exactly what Tuya should be doing. And as a result, this is a knife that is kind of a slam dunk. It's like this knife walked onto my table. I carried it for... I probably ended up carrying this way more than I needed to, just because I like it. It's a good freaking knife. It was just like, and at the end of it, it's just like mic drop, like, yeah, I'm a gem. That's what this knife said. Like, yeah, Nick, I'm a gem. Just say it already. And you know what? I'm going to say it. You are a gem. You are a shining freaking gem. This is a really, really nice knife, and I carried it more than I needed to because I liked carrying it. And so that is a recommendation here. This is a great freaking knife. They have done really good work, and they are doing it at a really good price. And honestly, there's really not that much for me to complain about. So, well done to you. This is really, really nice stuff. And I mean, the hive was good, but the design here is just freaking great. And so, if you want something that is beautifully made with an awesome action and you can afford the price, which I think is still a pretty good price, then honestly, this guy could well be the envy of the rest of your collection. Really, really well done. Great freaking knife right here. So there you go. I hope this has been interesting to you, and have yourselves an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.